Sorry it took a little bit of extra time between our uploads again, but for the record, I just got done flying in from Tatooine, and boy, are my arms tired.
Loud ass man. This man loud as fuck.
I had to really open up on a strong intro. So, for those of you not aware, Tatooine is a desert planet with 2 suns. And they also produce...
Bob and Phil. Those are the sons of Tatooine.
Bob and Son Tatooine.
Yes. Tatooine son.
Well, I don't know if you know this, David, but Tatooine also happens to produce the most delicious blue milk in the galaxy. So I picked myself up some, and honestly, it's like drinking it out of the blue cow's milk tit. That's what I meant to say.
This boy nasty, man. Oh my god, it's even leaking down his face. That's... Oh, gotta censor that out. Definitely gotta censor that.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness gracious.
Welcome to episode... What's this fucking episode?
Welcome 40 whatever.
Wait, is this episode 50?
No.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure there's no way this is 50.
No, there's no way we got to 50
No.
already. Hold on. Really quick. Well, welcome to episode 43.
Yeah.
Welcome to episode 43 of the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast. My name is Nick Scarpin Auto.
And I am Volkswagen Beetle 4x4, which we are joined today by...
Honestly, I should have called it Welcome to the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Pod's Carcast, because, in Star Wars on Tatooine, there were pod racing and...
We're not even talking Star Wars. What's with the Star Wars shit?
Well, it was May the 4th last
already
week.
Happened.
And
It
if we had
already
actually recorded our episode on time, we would have been able to get this out before May the 4th, so we could have done a Star Wars thing. But,
we're bad.
shit happens. I think I can actually make a hard launch decision here. I know people usually say hard launch when they're doing a relationship reveal, but I'm going to hard launch my new puppy. We got a new puppy, my family and I, and his name is Oliver.
Hobart. Oh.
We call him Ollie. Was that a serious guess?
No.
He's only met the dog once.
Ollie.
He's only met Ollie once. I chose the name because I wanted to name him Almond, and my family said that's fucking stupid. And I said, well, we can call him Ollie for short. So we put all of the names that all of us came up with in a hat and then took them all out. And then before my mom could even grab the name before she could even read the name that she grabbed, Ollie, who was at that point unknown puppy number 2, bit it out of her hand, bit a little scrap of piece of paper, and she opened it up and saw capital O. And I was over the phone at the time. And all they heard me on the other line say was, let's fucking go! Because I was so excited that I got to name this dog. And spoiler alert, I actually named our last dog too. But that one didn't feel as genuine because it was the name of my friend's dog. And so when we were looking for names for Riley, my family was like, does anyone have any ideas? And I said, well, Caleb's dog's name is Riley. And that's kind of cute. And we were like, we'll stick with that.
I was just steal it, no problem.
No. And then Caleb's dog passed away shortly thereafter. So I guess in one way or another, we ended up not stealing the name.
So he was Riley the second.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, but not for very long. Then he became the only Riley.
Riley Jr.
RJA. Remember Over the Hedge?
No.
Remember that movie?
No.
It was a DreamWorks movie.
I didn't watch that trash.
We are talking animated movies at some point today, but I only mention Over the Hedge because the main character's name is RJ. He's a raccoon. So for all we know, his name could be Raccoon Jr., which is it's kind of funny as a little thought experiment. But that's what Riley Jr. got me thinking about. God, this blue milk's really getting to me.
Just in case one of the Super Mario 64 fanboys are watching this. Stay mad, pussies.
Yeah, you guys really didn't like that one. You didn't really like that take.
Keep being mad and playing your inferior game.
I am gonna say though, we got a lot of views on that one, on that clip, disproportionately, because we have not had a whole lot of, I don't even want to say success, because we're not really doing this for that part of it. Obviously, like, if people watch our videos and listen to the podcast, that's cool. But we're mostly doing this because we got the idea and we're committed to the bit.
Yeah.
We got the idea to just start a podcast because it seemed very easy at the time. And now we're almost 50 episodes deep. And we're still talking about shit that we like to talk about, which is kind of cool. I don't remember No, you know what? It was 420. 420 was our first episode release. So,
right.
Along with celebrating
Hitler's birthday.
Okay, maybe we don't lead with that one. You know,
What?
maybe
That's
don't.
his birthday, April 20th. Everyone knows that. That's common knowledge.
Yeah, that's why everyone always makes posts on 420. It's always
Yeah, happy birthday.
It's always happy birthday, Hitler.
Happy birthday, Giga Chad.
This is taking a turn. I you know what? I'll say I almost made a post only to YouTube last year where I edited a picture of us from different promotional things that we took for the podcast. But we both had 420 like weed glasses on, and like I put a blunt in my hand, and I gave you like a inflatable like blunt thing, and I was like, we did not plan that, and I was actually on top of it. So it's been 2 years since we started this podcast.
Wow. 2
And
years.
another thing that we forgot to mention in the other episode that was closer to 420, because that's just how we roll, baby. That's just how we roll. We're late to everything.
Happy 2 years. Woo.
Woo! Blue Milk. Cheers to that, and cheers to Ollie, and cheers to May the 4th be with you and with your Force Ghost, and cheers to
redacted, redacted, completing, recording.
Oh, yeah.
You guys will hear that
It's
soon
David's band Redacted, who we've already talked about on the podcast.
No, we
before.
can call it Chaos Swing, but
okay.
the EP title is Redacted, redacted.
Right.
So
Yeah, because you don't want to give everything away.
yeah, no, it's just we're not ready to give out that information yet, but it is coming.
Yeah, and you guys just finished recording a couple of days ago.
On May the 4th.
That's right, on May the 4th. And then this is where I get a little pissed off, is everyone calls the next day.
And we're just getting word now that we are indeed confirmed for the 25th and June 1st for mixing. So
is that what that message was? Hold on, there's
indeed.
another message popping up about
There's no message.
I was gonna make a boner pill joke, but then I was like, no, there's something funnier. That's low hanging fruit. That's too easy. And if we do anything around here, it's try to make jokes that are high hanging fruit, that aren't easy to make.
Anyway, we're gonna
Did that burp smell blue?
We're gonna talk about my favorite animated movie today,
Yeah, we're gonna talk about some David stuff.
among some other things.
Yeah.
But first, we're talking about Toy Story. Oh yeah, that's
Which
right.
we've talked about before on the podcast, but that was, whenever Lightyear came out, and we mostly talked about Lightyear. I feel like we didn't really touch on the first or any of the other Toy Story movies specifically, besides the story of us walking to the theater to see Toy Story 3 in a
Classic.
storm, much like the storm that happened today here in the Midwest. And walking into the theater with little cuts and stuff from all of the gravel that got picked up by the wind hitting. At least I did.
I don't remember that.
I walked in with little cuts all over my arm, and I said, "All this for a kids movie?" And even at the time, I realized how silly that was, because kids movies fucking rule, dude. Animated movies are, honestly, I think I enjoy animated movies 9 times out of 10 more than live action movies. There's just shit that you can't do in live action that you can do in animation.
like Like
You got it.
go to infinity and beyond.
Yeah, you can't do that in live action.
You can't do that. Can't do that one bit.
People have tried, and we've gotten so far as the moon. I think that's the latest. I think that's the latest news coming out of NASA. But let's talk about Toy Story, because Toy Story came out the same year that we did,
Yes, indeed.
1995, and which was a great year for babies to be born and movies to come out, because Tommy Boy also came out that year, and we talked about Tommy Boy before. But today we're talking about Toy Story, and you all know Toy Story. It's the first fully CGI animated film to ever release.
Ever, huh?
Ever, yeah. There were a lot of short films that were produced, like some by Pixar, some by other studios, but it's the first full-length feature film that was entirely CGI.
It's also the first full-length film by Pixar.
Yeah, which is a studio that unfortunately has seen a little bit of a drop-off in recent years. And, I don't want to say it's because they're coming out with a lot of sequels instead of original stories, because they are coming out with original stories, but it's just, you look at the movies that they put out within the last 5 years, and then you look at the stuff that they put out between Toy Story and we both had Pixar movies as our favorite animated movies of all time.
That's right, because they're the goats.
That's true. What does that mean? What's flashing?
It's stupid. Don't mind it.
Okay. I thought your camera was about to explode.
No.
And that would have been not good.
So
So talk to us about
it.
Toy Story.
I like it. It's funny,
Yeah.
and I enjoy it very much. Okay.
That's all you need to
Now
know.
we're moving on to my
Nope, you can't do that
favorite
bit again.
album.
You did that in the last episode of yours. You can't do that bit again.
same goddamn joke over and over again.
Yeah. I just said we do high hanging fruit. We do
I
hard jokes.
I don't know.
You remember the first time you saw it?
No, absolutely not. Because it came out the same year I did. So
Yeah.
I probably saw it when I was 3.
That's a good age. That's a good Toy Story age, I feel like.
And
What was that?
and there goes the car. We are now officially the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into the
Redacted.
Steve Miller, the Joker Mask podcast. I'm your host, not Steve Miller.
You see that shit?
Never mind. We're back. We are back in control.
We're so back, baby. We're so back.
There you go.
Honestly, at this point, I think I need to just start scripting these because I generally don't know what the hell to say about it. Besides, it's good, it's funny, and I like it.
You should just start listing off facts. You got Tom Hanks and Tim Allen
Yes,
as the main two
you want
characters.
You want some facts?
Yeah.
The gunny was the sergeant, Arlie Ermy.
Yeah. Yeah,
was
the
the
guy from
Sarge.
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was the Sarge.
a lot of really good comedians. You got Don Rickles as Mr. Potato Head.
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, you got John Ratzenberger, who went on to essentially be like the hidden Mickey of Pixar movies, as in he did a small voice in every Pixar movie. I think he still does to this
Oh
day.
yeah.
But he
Rex.
did Ham.
Or Ham, right?
Yeah, and then Rex was Wallace Shawn, who was the guy, the inconceivable guy from The Princess Bride.
Yes.
Have you seen The Princess
Yeah,
Bride? Yeah, dude, that's another really good movie. I fucking love The Princess Bride. Yeah, and it's just stacked head to toe from the supporting characters to the lead characters. Everyone does a really good job in their role, especially considering this. I'm sure from the actor's perspective, functioned almost identical to recording voices for a 2D animated movie, but it's still crazy that Pixar was able to get the expressions that they did given the actors' lines, because again they were using all CG, so it was kind of unprecedented seeing the kind of expressionistic, or that's not the right word I'm looking for. All the characters are very expressive, and the humor,
well animated.
yeah, very well animated. The humor is on point.
A lot of great lines. Great lines.
Yeah.
A lot of great lines.
Sid scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Mrs. Nesbit. Sad, strange little man.
Yeah, falling with style.
You are a toy.
Yeah.
You are a child's plaything.
When Mr. Potato Head walks up to Ham and he's like, look, I'm Picasso. And then Ham just like walks away and he's like, you tasteless swine. That one's really good. That one I didn't appreciate as a kid as much. But yeah, dude. And this is, again, a case of a family film more than a kid's film because there's so many jokes and references in here that aren't supposed to make kids laugh as much. I guess they're funny to kids and adults in different ways. Where for kids, sometimes it's the movements of the characters. Sometimes it's the way that they... Like, when Woody runs... Because he's just like a plush whatever. His limbs are all janky and he kind of runs like this. Or like his hat is almost falling off. And so that's funny. And then he says, you know, something about murdering Buzz and pushing him out at the second story window. And isn't that a little fucked up? That the plot of this movie is one toy getting so jealous of the other that he plots murder, essentially. And then when Buzz actually does fall out the window, Woody is still an asshole about it because everyone is like, what happened? What'd you do? And Woody was like, good riddance. And no one else agrees with him. And they're like, you fucking find him. Go get him.
See, I don't even need to tell you why I like this movie. I have Nick here to tell you why I like this movie.
Dude, I talk for the both of us.
It's just like,
we know this.
It's all really good points and I agree with all of it. It's like, yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need to hear someone explain to me why I like something.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that all checks out.
Well, because then if I say something wrong, then you have every right to be like, shut the fuck up. Wrong. Loud, incorrect buzzer. That's what that was supposed to sound like in my head.
Think of what else. And Andy was terrifying.
Yeah, humans. I understand why Pixar didn't focus on making human-centric movies for a while. Because the humans that they made were very scary.
Dude, and like the Sid, his like combinations. Remember that like the rolling thing with the head?
Yeah.
And like the hand, like that thing was terrifying.
Yeah, there was the fishing pole with stripper legs.
Yeah.
There was the rubber duck head on the buff tattooed guy's body. Like the wrestler's body. And it was like shit like that. It's just like, it's sometimes scary when you're watching it as a kid, but as an adult, you're like, oh yeah, this is some good shit. I know there were some kids that I was friends with that did this. But as a kid, you were just like, oh, this is just some kid mutilating his toys.
I think it was weird, man.
It was very weird. And then Buzz develops like, not PTSD, but like he takes on Mrs. Nesbit's. Yeah. Like he just gets assimilated into the group of misfit toys, and he starts wearing this like, you know, bonnet and.
Yeah, because when he shows up, he's like, "Yes, I am the real Buzz Lightyear."
The fucking, I totally forgot. Did any of you realize that Buzz Lightyear goes through an identity crisis the way that like a non-playable character discovering their in-game model would go through? Like he discovers that he's just one of a million Buzz Lightyear toys. And so he goes through a crisis where he breaks down mentally because he's like, what do I have to live for? There's a million other Buzz Lightyears. I don't need to be Buzz Lightyear anymore. And just, I forgot that was a plot point. Dude goes off the deep end.
Yeah, I think that's the second one. Isn't that the second one where they find the Isle of Buzz Lightyears? Well,
yeah, that's... But I feel like he sees a commercial.
Yeah, and this one is like the commercial of like the toy. Yeah, where
Buzz. Something about there's something in the commercial that's so 90s it makes it so fun to watch. Because this movie also kind of serves as a time capsule for the 90s where kids, not a phone in sight because they weren't invented, but it opens with Andy's birthday party where he gets Woody, and then and you see a bunch of kids just running around, and and you see just the room with all of the birthday decorations, and then when you're first introduced to all of the toys and they're coming out of his toy chest and they're being, they're picking themselves off the floor. It's just it's very nostalgic and it's very cool. And I love Toy Story so much, and Toy Story 3 will never fail to make me cry. I know everyone says that, but fuck you anyway. But Toy Story 1 is where it all started. And if we didn't have Toy Story 1, we wouldn't have... I mean, I'm sure someone would have eventually made the first CG movie, but I'm glad that it was Pixar, because then we wouldn't have gotten The Incredibles. And then this podcast wouldn't exist. So,
That's right.
there you go.
It all starts in 1995 with Toy Story.
So thank you, Toy Story. And thank you, Pixar. And we'll never talk about you again, because I think we're done talking about Pixar.
Thank God. All right.
Well.
Anyway.
Well, I guess we're moving on to music, because we have about 9 minutes until the camera resets.
Music. Yeah, that's enough time.
It's enough time. So tell us about your number 3
Today's
album of all time.
featured album is...
Oh, hold on. I'm going to hold this between my legs. I don't like that the drum roll sounds like skin slapping.
God damn it. We have the Parallax 2 by BT Bam. When am I going to find this on vinyl already, you son of a bitch?
As soon as the band releases it on vinyl. That's probably...
I mean, it is. I just haven't found it yet.
Oh. Are they sold out on their store? On their online?
I don't know. It's less fun buying it online. You know what I mean?
That's true. Hey, do you remember when we bought that Yellow Magic Orchestra vinyl?
Yeah, I got it down there. I don't feel like pulling it up, but
Yeah.
that was crazy.
Yeah, finding vinyl in real life is pretty wild. And eventually it'll happen with this album. But first, tell us a little bit more about Bit Bam, because I don't think a lot of people, the general public, knows about this band or is even really familiar with this genre of music, because there are a lot of artists that kind of fall under this umbrella of prog. And
There are, but not any of those other artists have some of the best goddamn musicians to ever walk the earth on it. Dead ass, every single one of these guys are masters at their instruments. You got Paul Wagner, who is just a guitar whiz, as he writes very crazy and insane parts, and they're all very good. Dan Briggs coming on the bass, absolutely fucking smashing ass, clapping cheeks with other bassists who are really bad, who only play like root notes.
Okay.
And like some stupid shit like that.
like the bassist from AC/DC. Boom! Shots fired,
Yeah,
AC/DC.
dude. But, like,
fuck you guys.
It's just
I love you.
pretty insane. You got Blake Richardson, who
Sounds
is
like a basketball
basically
player.
just like a goddamn modern art fucking Neil Peart
Yeah.
/ Buddy Rich.
Woo.
He's just like, once again, just one of the greatest players of all time. And then we got Tommy Rogers, who has a very great clean voice and
Yeah.
a very scary voice.
He sounds like a football player.
You know, it's like one of those singers who can scare you
You can do both.
and make you fall asleep at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't see a lot of those these days.
And then you got Dusty Waring, which, oh boy, oh my goodness gracious. That's a whole can of worms that we do not have time to get into right now. But if you know, you know, okay?
Yeah. What does he play?
Also guitar,
Oh, okay.
but a lot of rhythms.
Yeah.
Uh,
If you know, you know, though.
yeah.
But now you know you
It's like, I don't know which one of them writes the most, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's, I don't know, but like,
It's a
whoever.
two-man
Both
job,
of them,
probably.
they're like both really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just 5 dudes who were just so damn good. And this was one of the bands that my old bandmate Josh gave to me,
Yeah.
who is responsible for like half of that shit, which is crazy.
Oh, you cannot see it on either camera, but there is a wall of CDs,
Yeah.
nuts, that
Yeah.
you can see if you go to David's channel. He films a lot of videos with this wall in the background.
Indeed. There's a lot of stuff,
Yeah.
but this is the main one. So I heard this album first in 2014 when they joined, or is it 2013, 14? I don't know, one of the two. It was the band's newest album at the time, and it was his favorite. And then I started with this one, and it gave me a headache. Straight up gave me a headache when I listened to it, because it's a lot. It is a lot to take in.
Yeah.
But if you go back, subsequent listens a whole bunch, and you start to pick up on everything, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
You realize that, oh my god, this is amazing. I keep trying to point to it, but it's on your camera.
It's on my camera. Just point your finger.
Pain in the ass.
Like you have to go this far.
Whatever, man. You see it. And then the whole concept behind it, it's an insane concept. This shit goes back it's a story that goes back to their second album. So they have a couple, one or two songs. It's a long big concept. They had an EP before this, the Parallax 1.
Right. This is a sequel.
Is the full-length sequel and the ending. So it's just this big overarching thing that I'm not even super familiar with yet, because it's basically about these two guys who are the same person, and one of them is evil and one of them is good, and it's kind of this whole battle of whatever the hell. I'm not really sure, but everyone dies at the end.
Spoilers.
Yeah, everyone dies. And I don't even know.
I feel like there are a lot of concept albums in Prague. I feel like Prague is kind of the place to go when you want to write a concept album, because Prague is a genre of music that I feel like more than any other rock genre, and I feel like calling it a rock genre is kind of doing it a disservice, because it incorporates parts from orchestral, classical music. It incorporates parts from, depending on the band, sometimes you'll get a singer-songwriter section. Sometimes you'll get, I know some prog bands like to use Latin grooves, and it's just because the songs are so long, they are the songs that feature a lot of instrumental sections, right? And correct me if I say anything that's not, at least partially true. But I feel like there are a lot of sections where the music kind of tells the story, and there are hardly ever sections that really repeat. There aren't really choruses or verses the way that a lot of the general public recognizes how songs are put together. And so it can be a turnoff for a lot of people. And I know it was kind of a turnoff for me when you introduced me to not even just Bitbam, but, a number of the prog bands that you listen to. And then once I realized, Rush is a prog band, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's once you realize that prog is not just the sound of one or even a handful of bands, and it can kind of really be anything, because prog is short for progressive rock, essentially. So it's kind of cool that bands in that umbrella embody the meaning of that phrase, progressive music, because every one of those bands sounds different, and every one of those bands is doing something different and really progressing rock forward, as opposed to sticking to the conventional 1-4-5 chord progression, or the verse chorus bridge chorus progression, or I don't know, shit you hear on the radio. You're not going to hear prog on the radio unless it's a really cool radio station.
Yeah, unless you got satellite radio or something,
or a college radio where the DJs are college nerds that are getting into Between the Buried and Me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you showed me a couple songs off this thing, and I have not yet listened to the full album, despite that experience being maybe a month and a half ago. Partially because I could come up with a million reasons as to why I didn't, but it's mostly because when I do have free time, I don't really listen to albums. And this definitely feels like an album that I have to kind of give all my attention to.
Yeah, it's an hour and 18 minutes of chaos.
Yeah, even just the one... What was the one shorter song that you told me they play at every show that everyone really likes?
Probably Bloom.
Bloom, that's it. Bloom I really liked, because Bloom is very silly. And I added it to my liked songs, because if it pops up on just a random shuffle of that playlist, it's going to be funny. So, and you know how much we love funny. You know? High-hanging fruit.
It is a very weird, quirky song. And yeah, and a fan favorite. Telos was always my favorite song.
You showed me Talos.
It's probably that break.
Yeah.
That breakdown in the middle. If you know, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't, get educated, you fucking swine.
Yeah, okay. This is kind of like, we got our own Mr. Potato Head over
But
here.
yeah, man, we got little. There's a lot of heaviness. There's a lot of cleans. You know, you get your like interlude tracks, like the Parallax track and the Black Box, and like Autumn in the beginning. The first and last song are quiet.
Like these shorter songs that kind of act as like.
Yeah, and then you get to like Extremophile Elite, which is just goes super ham. Goddamn Melting City. If you know, you know.
Yeah, he's gonna say that a lot because this is the sort of album that really fans of the band who already know it are gonna appreciate us talking about. Or
and most people jerk off over Colors because that was like the first album they did in this style where it kind of like, and also that album was pretty like monumental. I mean, so much so that they just did a tour that we saw them on where they played the first and second album in full, and they're getting sold out.
Whoa.
Albums from like 2007, and there's like all their shows are getting sold out every time they play it because people love it.
Yeah.
But nah, that shit's the GOAT. And if you know, you know.
you know, you know. And you know, I don't know if you know, but I know that I kind of held on to this thought from a couple of minutes ago about prog music, and the way that you described listening to it for the first time was a little overwhelming. And I think I came up with a pretty solid comparison in my head, and it might be a reason as to why you like both this genre of music so much and also games like Breath of the Wild. I feel like prog music kind of feels like playing an open world game where, and hear me out, it can go in really any direction, and every time you listen to it or play through an open world game, you're always focusing on different things because nothing is ever really the same and nothing ever repeats. And so the more you listen to it, the more you get to explore the album, and it's not like, you know, whereas I would call an album that had a bunch of like 3-minute songs the equivalent of like playing an online shooter or something that you can drop into and then drop out of. And it's like, no, when you're playing Breath of the Wild or when you're listening to the Parallax 2, you're in that shit. You can't just put on one song and then, you know, unless it's Bloom.
Unless you only have like 10 minutes, which fair enough.
Yeah. But it's meant to be appreciated in its entirety and over multiple listens. The same way that you're only going to enjoy playing Breath of the Wild. Well, you know what? You can enjoy it anyway. I think that's where the metaphor kind of starts to lose traction a little bit. But I like this idea that you're a very exploratory, a very adventurous guy. And that's why both of those things hit for you.
That's right.
That's right.
We'll get to that one.
We'll get to that one soon. But yeah, make sure you 100% Parallax 2, and that's something that I gotta do. True to form, I'm getting around to doing David's favorite things way later than he does mine.
Yeah.
So we'll.
Goddamn unbelievable.
Yeah, I know. I'll eventually get to it.
Go listen to it.
Go listen to it, and then I'll listen to it. We'll do it together. It'll be fine. Hold my hand. Anyway. Now we're talking about some games. We're talking about some fucking bangers of games.
Time to... Excuse me.
Okay.
Yes, time to talk about the best superhero game of all time.
You mean Square Enix's The Avengers?
Oh, you kurva.
Come on, man. It wasn't that funny.
Yeah.
It's more sad than anything.
Actually, you're close. Speaking of the Avengers, it is the Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction.
That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
The GOAT of superhero games. Oh my god, the amount of time I sank into this game as a kid and played it with all my friends and shit was a lot. A great deal. And it's from the same studio as that made Hit and Run.
Would you look at that?
Which not to get get ahead of ourselves, but that is my number one favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
So
some about destruction and cars blowing up.
Motherfucker, So Radical Entertainment were really good at what they did.
They're really catering to your sensibilities specifically.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Man, it's just okay. I mean, yeah, it's a fairly old. It's not exactly modern.
Right. It's one of those games that doesn't hold up as well if you were playing it for the first time ever in 2024.
But it does. It absolutely does.
But
this
it
game kicks fucking ass. It was way ahead of its time, man.
All right. So describe it. Is there even a point in describing the plot of the game?
It's, you're just Bruce and Abomination's being a bitch, and you got to stop him. That's the story of the game.
Sounds like a pretty complicated story to me.
But really, the cream of the crop is just going into the city and just fucking shit up.
Yeah.
It is so goddamn fun. The amount of moves there are in the game, and you get moves by buying, like with currency that you get by just destroying shit, is so damn fun. You get like the goddamn elbow drop, you get the uppercut, you get the cannonball, you get like the missile throw, you get the steel fist, you get the shield that you can surf on, and you can like kick the shield into like a guy. You get like all the grab moves, and you get like the throwing moves while you're running, and you get your ultra moves like the ground pound, the sonic clap. Holy shit. So much.
Rip my shirt open.
So much. And then all the costumes, dude. You get Joe Fixit. Goddamn, dude, Joe Fixit was so. I don't even know what he's from.
He's from the Incredible Hulk comics. I feel like there are so many characters in Marvel that just become Hulks at some point. Like not all of them are Bruce Banner, but because they're all very. It's kind of like Spider-Man costumes. They're all very similar builds, so you can just slap those skins into a Hulk game or a game that has Hulk in it.
Yeah, but it was purely cosmetic in this game.
Yeah, there's nothing. You could be Red Hulk.
Except Joe Fixit had a lot of liners because he talks.
Yeah.
And it just, like a lot of the lines, does this bug you? Does this bug you? Does this bug you? Floats like a butterfly, stings like a bitch.
Whoa.
Yeah, he says bitch in the game. That was awesome.
Whoa. That's not the Hulk that these kids are growing up with.
And then you get like the Badlands section, because there's like 2 maps, but that one is very open because it's like desert, so not nearly as fun as the city.
Also, isn't that later in the game too?
Yeah, it's like halfway through the game you unlock that section. But yeah, man, it's just the shit I used to do. I used to like, because you could pick people up, and if you hit like the triangle or like whatever the top button is on whatever console you're playing, you put them down and you pet them. So what I used to do, I would grab people, like go to a top of a building. I would like pet them, like act like I was like, oh, you're okay. And then I'd grab one of like the poles and just smack the shit out of them. And they just go like flying. And then like the whole concept behind like this steel fist. You pick up a car, you break it apart, and you smash it together.
Yeah, he does that in the MCU Hulk movie.
He does it in the movie. But like that always was funny to me because it's just like a dude in there, and you like just fucking break his car apart and like just straight up kill him.
It's like on his commute to work, and he's getting picked up, and he's like, sir, I think I'm gonna be a little late, and then he's ripped in half.
Oh! Yeah,
something
dude.
like that.
That crazy shit, man. I used to just like grab light posts and just like fucking play baseball with people.
Yeah, it's sort of
fucked up.
Hulk is
it's so fun.
Hulk is one of those superheroes that you really, if you make a game about him, you have to make him a morally ambiguous character. Because he's capable. The only way to make a Hulk game fun is to just let you smash whatever you want. And sometimes that includes people, which means that Hulk can't be entirely a good guy. Same with the Venom levels in Ultimate Spider-Man, where you could just eat people, because that's how you regain your health, because you slowly lost health over the course of playing as Venom, so you had to like literally eat people. And it's just like, man, superhero games where you could do that kind of shit, they don't get made anymore.
Yeah.
Now you get the Spider-Man PlayStation, the Sony Spider-Man games, which, they're great. They're great. We love them. But there's not a whole lot of civilian casualties in those games caused by Spider-Man. The previously mentioned the Avengers game, the live service Avengers game that, for whatever reason, Rocksteady decided to emulate when they made the Kill the Suicide Squad game, and everyone hated them for it, even though they had like 3 years apart to see that the Avengers game didn't do well. So why would they do that for their... Anyway, superhero games are just not made the same way that they used to be made. Also, there were a lot more movie tie-in games, so we got games for the first every single Avengers
phase
film.
1 of
Every single one of those movies got a game.
And the Hulk one fucking sucked. I remember when that shit came out, dude. I was like so excited.
So that was the next Hulk game after Ultimate Destruction.
Yeah, and it was literally just like the same game, but everything was just worse. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't played it since it came out, which maybe I should, like, if I find it, I might like try it again
for a second.
But like, yeah, I remember it not being good at all, and
No.
it really bummed me out.
Yeah. Same thing with I remember liking the... So bear in mind, in 2008, you either had the new consoles, like the 360 or the PS3, or even the Wii, or you were like me and were dirt cheap, poor, and still played the PS2 that you had since you were like, in 2003, 2004. So a lot of the games, the superhero games that I played were the PS2 versions, and I happened to like the PS2 version of the first Iron Man game because you got to fly and shoot missiles and switch between lasers and missiles and photon blasts. And I remember playing that the Incredible Hulk game, and I didn't grow up with Ultimate Destruction, so I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I get why David thinks that I understand why this is his favorite superhero, but if I had only known how wrong I was.
That game is the reason why Hulk was my favorite for so long.
Yeah.
Because that game was so fun and nothing else was even remotely that good.
No. I mean, I was also just the kind of kid you were. You were just very smashy.
Like I said, you could like destroy buildings and like play baseball with civilians.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was very...
Just fucking charge up your punch and just fucking blast them into the water.
Yeah, you just pretend it was a kid from school and then they'd skip across the water.
Dude, the sound it makes when you grab people is like... It's like it sounds like their bones just like smash as soon as you grab them. But they were screaming like
like even if you let them go, the damage would still be so far like irreparable that like they wouldn't be able to live a normal life anyway.
Dude, you can even kick them. Like there was if you hit like 2 buttons, you would like do a punt kick, and like sometimes when you like pet them, they would like run away, and then I'd run after them and just punt kick them. They go flying into a wall and die.
Crazy.
It was so
I mean, you could only
fun.
assume they would die because this was obviously not rated M. So even if they died, they would have had to explode into like a burst of...
No, they just like lay down and then they just like vanish.
Yeah,
and disappear.
That's how a lot of NPCs operated back in 2008, 2007 or 8. Something like that. But it's crazy shit, man. And
I love that game. I should put that higher on my list actually, but no, it's fine.
No, it's
because
fine.
I have very good games in my top 7 or whatever.
Yeah, we're in top 7 now. We have 2 albums left. We have 7 games left. Yeah, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 7 games left. 2 albums left. And I mean, we're gonna run out of genres eventually.
Yeah.
Probably, right? I mean,
we can literally just talk about whatever the hell, though.
Yeah, especially now that we're getting into the summer, we might as well take the opportunity to talk about new movies that are coming out. Because obviously when Deadpool comes out, we're going to want to talk about that. Probably. And we might talk about The Planet of the Apes. The 4th movie. I never thought we would get a quadrilogy for apes. Bless you. But, as far as this episode goes, I know David episodes are notably shorter than Nick episodes, and for good reason.
I talk way less.
Yeah.
Except if I really,
And we're getting to that
I
point.
don't know. It's just
We're getting close to that point, especially with albums. I feel like there's a lot more to talk about with the top 2. And when we crack the top 5 for games, it's gonna go
shit's
crazy.
gonna go down, man.
Shit's gonna go crazy. We're just gonna talk for hours. You're gonna hear this guy spit out entire essays, which is what people come onto YouTube for. Honestly, people watch YouTube to fall asleep and put stuff on in the background when they're gone. Gone are the days of cable and putting on Fox 32 if you're in Chicago and just letting The Simpsons and Seinfeld and all these things, syndicated shows, play. Now people watch YouTube and they watch Game Grumps compilations and they watch Jake and Amir and they watch Nakey Jakey.
They
and
or
Donkey.
you? That sounds like a you thing.
That's been my time, everybody.
I think most
My
people
name's-
watch fucking trash. Like, I don't know. I don't watch trash, so I don't know any examples. But you know what I mean. If you
Yeah.
know, you know.
If you know, you know. And you know that the best podcast to come back to when you want to listen to shit that doesn't really matter to anyone but us is the Too Bad We Didn't Get in Cars podcast. My name is Nick Scarpin Auto.
And I'm not actually the Volkswagen Beetle 4x4. I am actually David Kabushi Cars.
Whoa,
and I
face reveal.
fucking hate cars.
And this has been a celebration of blue milk.
That's
So-
been sitting on the floor for 45 minutes.
Good
and this
morning, good
man is
afternoon,
still
and good
just
night.
gonna drink it. Oh, it's fucking disgusting.
Don't drink the blue milk from Tatooine. Don't do it. Oh, do you have a bathroom?